All right, let's just dive right in. We're going to break down 3 true and honestly pretty chilling stories from students. And these go way beyond just stressing about exams. The whole point here is to pull out a real modern survival guide from what they went through. So don't think of these as just scary stories. Think of them as crucial lessons for staying safe out there.
So, let me ask you, what's the scariest part of being a student? Seriously, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Finals week? That big presentation you have to give? Or maybe, that giant mountain of student debt? We've all got those fears. But what if the real dangers are the ones hiding in plain sight?
Because let's be real, the true horror isn't getting a bad grade. It's in those moments outside the classroom, in situations that just feel a little bit off. We're about to look at 3 of those exact moments. So, our first story kicks off somewhere that's supposed to be fun, right? A party. But this story is basically a masterclass in social threats, and it really hammers home why your gut feeling is maybe the most important defense you have.
Okay, so just picture this. You walk into a party, you're expecting, loud music, a kind of relaxed vibe. Instead, you get hit with this. The main overhead lights are on full blast, total atmosphere killer. The music has no lyrics, just this strange, kind of creepy sound. And everybody there is dressed up like they're going to a 5-star restaurant. I mean, the red flags are already waving, right?
In this quote right here, it gets to the absolute heart of it. Before he can even figure out what exactly is wrong, his intuition is just screaming at him. You know that little voice, that gut feeling? That's a primal survival instinct. And in this story, it's basically the hero.
So that general feeling of, this is weird, it quickly turns into a very specific, very chilling mystery. He's talking to a girl, and he notices something on her neck that just doesn't belong. A strange, deliberate mark. And it's the precision of this thing that's so unnerving. This wasn't just a smudge of makeup or a weird birthmark. Then he starts seeing it on other people too. Always green, always the exact same size and shape. This isn't random. This is organized. It's a sign for something he just doesn't understand. So, what happens when he tries to tell his friends, hey, something is seriously wrong here? He gets this reaction. They just laugh at him. They tell him he's just drunk or maybe jealous. And this is such a critical moment where that peer pressure is trying to shout down that crucial gut instinct.
And then, bam, the story hits its terrifying climax. He finally gets them to stop and listen, and that's when he sees it. His own friends have the same line on their necks, but theirs are red. They weren't just visitors at the party anymore. They were part of it, targeted, initiated, marked. They had crossed some kind of line without even knowing.
So the huge lesson from this story is this. That feeling in your gut, it's not just a feeling, it's data. When every part of you is screaming get out, you get out. Don't let anyone convince you that you're being crazy. Your intuition is your first and honestly, your best alarm system.
Okay, our second story builds on this whole idea of ignoring warnings, but we're shifting gears from a social threat to something way more direct, the violation of your safest space, your home. This is all about a physical breach.
The way this escalates is just terrifying. It all starts with a common mistake, right? Leaving a backpack unattended for a minute. But that backpack had his keys and his laptop, which had his address. And from there, the situation just spirals. First, a simple, chilling note slips under his door. Then more threats. Then he sees a camera flash outside his window. And finally, his entire private space is just torn apart.
So when the student begs his landlord to change the locks, the one simple thing that could stop all this is the response he gets. He's told it's not an emergency. His very real fear is just dismissed, leaving him completely exposed and, frankly, pretty powerless.
And that leads to this really critical question. When the systems that you think are supposed to protect you totally fail, the landlord, even the police who can't do much without proof of a break-in, what's your plan B? Who do you even call?
Look, the lesson here is super direct and something you can actually use. Your security starts with you. Don't wait around. Don't assume someone else is going to handle it. The second your keys are gone, you have to act like the worst-case scenario is already happening. Because as this story shows us, a lot of the time, it is.
Now for our final story, we're heading into the world we all live in 24/7, the digital one. This isn't about a creepy party or someone breaking down your door. No, this is about a stalker who's like a ghost in the machine, and how one tiny mistake can hand them the keys to your entire life.
I mean, can you even imagine
This is the absolute nightmare she lived through. She's standing up in front of her whole class, ready to show off a project she's really proud of. But a hacker has gotten into her email. They swapped her file, and instead of her hard work, the entire class is forced to watch some vile, hateful video. The public humiliation is just absolute.
And there it is, the single point of failure. The one mistake we have all been warned about a million times, and yet so many of us still make it. It's such a painfully honest admission, and it just reveals the vulnerability at the core of her entire digital life.
Because she used that one password for everything. The hacker didn't just get her email. Oh no, they got everything. They got into her Snapchat, they found her private photos, and what started as a cruel prank quickly escalated into straight-up blackmail with some faceless person holding her life hostage.
And the takeaway here is so simple, but so important. Think about it. You wouldn't use the exact same physical key for your house, your car, your office, and your safe deposit box, would you? Of course not. Your digital life deserves that exact same level of security.
So, we've just walked through 3 very different, but all equally terrifying true stories. Now let's pull it all together into a simple framework that you can actually use. This is your modern survival guide.
So let's just boil this all down, okay? For social threats, your big red flag is that bad gut feeling, and your best defense is just being aware of your surroundings. For physical threats, the red flag is a lost key or a breached lock, and your defense is to secure your space immediately. And for digital threats, the red flag is any kind of hacked account, and your defense is to protect your data like it's a fortress.
And really, when you think about it, all 3 of these stories come down to this one powerful idea. The danger was always there, but it was always preceded by a warning sign, a weird vibe, a lost key, a weak password. The real horror isn't some monster jumping out of the dark. It's the red flag that we see, and then we ignore.
So I'm going to leave you with this question. This isn't about becoming paranoid. It's just about being prepared. After hearing these real-world examples, what is the one, small, simple change you're going to make starting today to make sure your story has a very different and much safer ending?